There's no place like it. We really had a wonderful time, and we love Scotland.
And how's your trip
and look
been
at that,
so far?
I like that. Look at that beautiful baby and the beautiful sweater.
And how have you enjoyed your trip here so far?
I love it. I love Scotland. It's the home of my mother. I love Scotland.
And what do you make of Nicola Sturgeon's dealings at the moment and everything that's going on in the investigation?
Well, I think it's too bad. She has not been very helpful to Scotland, I think. I don't think she's been a great person for Scotland, and it's too bad to hear what's happening with her. But you want people that love their country and love the country. This is a very special country, so it's too bad what's happened to her. Thank you very much, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
Hello, hello. Is that a fix, guys? Let me know. Hello, my baby gorillas. Let's turn it down a wee bit. I think that's blowing up here. Is the sound fixed, guys? Get me know in the comments. Let me know. That should be it. You can see these not having done this for a while. Let's go. Hello, hello. It looks good. It looks good from here. Zaz. So, yeah, very interesting from the dawn. Here you now, great mate. Thanks very much, guys. Fan. Years, your and dawn. That's great, guys. Well, let's go. Let's crack on. Let's see what El Presidente's saying.
Our own future into our own. They want our.
Now, as we, the only reason the hums. Listen, hello, my baby gorillas. Hamza Useless, or Hamza Useless, said that his name was Hamza Useless because it rhymes with Yusuf. It's not, everybody thinks you're actually useless. That is the difficulty, and that you've failed your way to the top. I think people have already articulated that, both from inside and outside your party, and we're now going to see the collapse of the party.
Real alternative. We know that the real change, the real alternative is not between a Westminster is...
But you're all just a bunch of wokey wefters. All 5 parties in the Scottish Parliament are just wokey wefter parties. That's all you are. You're not, there's not a real policy difference between you. Even you and the SNP and the Conservatives, SNP and Labour and the Conservatives, there's no policy difference. You're all the same, just chatting a lot of garbage. So, and we're different for the Tories. How? You've got a policy, you want independence, but apart from that, they're a bunch of wokey wefters, you're a bunch of wokey wefters, the Tories are a bunch of wokey wefters, they're liberal, and Democrats are a bunch of wokey wefters, and the Greens are wefters, the tranny commie party.
In a Westminster that is red, enacting the same cruel policies that are harming people in Scotland.
Yeah, we'll come on to the cruel policies that...
We know the real change. The real alternative is taking decisions for ourselves, our own future, into our own hands as an independent nation.
My God, that's the best yet.
Interesting. Interesting. Is that better? Let me know if it's make the sound great again. Let me just check this and see what I'm getting here. Is that better if it's higher, or is it better if it's a wee bit lower? Let me tell you, that should be in the sweet spot. It should be good there. Wonder if there's let me check up here. You can tell that there's been a wee while since I've actually done this, can you? Hello, 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 hello. Is that better? Or is the phantom better off or on? Let's see, I can't see what you guys are saying. We are heading the video clips, but hearing the video clips, but not you still, not me. It looks like it's on. This looks like it's absolutely on. Let's see this. That's the colour. Don't want that. Use timestamp defaults on. Hello. 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 My God. Are you hearing anything? Hear you now. Fantastic, mate. Well, let's turn this up a wee bit. Get this up. Hello. Yeah. Right. Hums are useless. Well, hello, baby gorillas again for the third time. Let's see what's happening here. Oh my God. So,
To see you nice.
Yeah, I'm well.
so these guys from through the Scottish Prism. But the MPs, because they're not very good.
Well,
Good. It's been a heck of a week, folks, as always. And we were hoping that there might have been something else had happened, but while the rumours go on, there's been no action. But you never know. But what's happened, Eva, the first thing, we've had another resignation, and rumours abound that there's another 2 or 3 on the way. Philippa Whitford this time. Techie, can you stick up that? Philippa's leaving. She's retiring, she said. I wonder if she means just retiring from Westminster, or she's going to retire completely from politics. Though she says, I think it's great. She's now going to, now that she's left politics, front lines, she's going to have more time to campaign for independence. Can you explain that one to me, Eva?
No.
No, no.
Because I know that Philippa Whitford's retiring, and certainly she's given many years' service at Westminster, and she is, without being impolite, of an age to retire. But many of us are, and I cannot understand why ceasing being an MP elected to achieve independence thereby gives you more time to campaign for independence. That seems to me to be a non sequitur. I also wonder what the headline means when it says that yesers should be voting for independence. Does that mean that Philippa supports the Scotland United campaign, or does it mean that Philippa continues to support an SNP-only campaign? I would like to see some answers to that soon rather than later, because, when we were in Dunfermline the other night in Abbey View,
there's no real sense to what's been spun in the National, and I think, effectively and simply, it's a loss to the national movement if she drops out of politics completely.
Sorry, the SNP party. I keep slipping up that way. That was always good was the unity. It was a Scotland United party. It was always united. It always had discipline. We didn't have much, apart from the 79 group. There wasn't much dissent. And here's Fergus Ewing talking.
And I'm sure the 79 group, if I can remember, was actually Alex Salmond saying that the SNP weren't left-wing enough. And now they got a bunch of left-wingers. And it's left-wing politics is a problem in Scotland. That's the problem. That's not the solution in Scotland. And I'm talking about somebody who comes from, my great-grandfather was a trade union member and a gang leader and worked on the Clyde and the shipbuilding. My grandparents were both textile workers and shop stewards as well. So I'm from a long line left-wing political parentage, grandparentage, going all the way back to great-grandparentage. So I'm from a left wing, so I already understand what their argument, what a lot of the arguments are. Some of them aren't as left wing as they would like to have you believe, I would think, but it's not. by changing, going from the Greens to Labour to the SNP, even to the illiberal Liberals or even the Conservatives, it's not a change of policy. None of that's a change of policy. You have to go outside of that oligopoly of power to actually get a change in policy. So we can't talk about Nicola Sturgeon because it's a live investigation. We don't want to jeopardise it, and everybody is innocent until proven guilty, whether it be her husband or the other signatory on the actual accounts as well. And it's a live-going case, and they might go to trial. So we can't really see much, and we don't want to prejudice it, and everybody's innocent till they're proven guilty. And allegations are just that until they're actually solidified. So, and even sometimes when you're found guilty of things, that can be wrong as well. There's many miscarriages of justice, which we'll go into at a later date. So, we can't really talk about the £600,000 of missing money, which I correctly pointed out about 2 years ago, that this was going to cause them issues. Why she's not resigned from her seat in a by-election called and also the party is slightly beyond me. At this point, she should definitely be stepping down her position, and she should be suspended from the party at this point, because Humza Useless is under the thumb, and he's the continuity candidate of somebody who may have been getting an embezzlement charge or something along those lines. Is beyond me. It just shows you what a bitch that Humza Useless must be on the back of this. But there's other things that we can talk about, and we'll get to that in a second, on other things.
Talking about not supporting the government if they don't keep their promise about dualling the A9. Again, an infrastructure project that would create jobs as well as create...
Now, they're talking another two, an MP and an MSP. So we're talking about Mr Ewing and Mr O'Neill. So there's problems for Humza in both Westminster and Holyrood politics just now. It's like a twin attack. Some thing with Brent. What's his name? Holly. Resign from SNP in Westminster. My goodness, quits the party. That's 2022. Suspended. Angus McNeill. Right, so Angus McNeill has now been suspended from the Scottish the Westminster Parliament Party. His best strategy would be to now hook up with Alex Salmond, unless there's personal dislike. Him and Mr Ewing should just leave the party and then hook up with Alex Salmond. That's the best option for both of them. Rather than stand as an independent, they would be better in a party structure. And but Alex Salmond would be better contacting them and trying to cajole people to come out. Because what we're going to see is a collapse of the SNP now. It's going to collapse under Humza Useless, which he will be renowned for being absolutely useless on the back of...
safety, and etc., etc. It's a bad day when you've got a Ewing threatening not to back the SNP government.
Absolutely. But to be perfectly honest with you, when I heard what Fergus was saying, I thought there would be a sensible response. And the response we got from the Minister, Mary McCallum, was that the dualling of the A9 is the most complicated engineering infrastructure project in the history of the country, which is frankly drivel. It really is. It was insulting to the Inverness Courier that had put on the event. It was insulting. Insulting to the people who were in the room, and it was insulting to the people of this country. You know, the Queen's Ferry crossing, the Aberdeen Peripheral Road, the finishing of the M74, all of these are much, much bigger projects than the dualling of the A9. There's no question about it. But the fact that we're even discussing at this late time the idea that the A9 will not be dualled until beyond 2025 is frankly ridiculous. It really is, and it shows the lack of priority, the absolute lack of priority we have in the current government. They seem to think responding to headlines is the only thing to do. They think that
Have you been to Antarctica?
Yes.
Has been done. Let me tell you, the Shipman sisters, Jean Freeman and Nicola Sturgeon, have been reported over some of the things they've said and done, breaking ministerial codes and possibly needing a full police investigation.
dodge the bullet. Audio problems again. It's incredible, isn't it? It's almost as if we're getting sabotaged. Hello. I'm not sure what's actually happening here. Compressor. Let me check and see what's happening here. The sound, see if I can get any further forward.
Hey, you were letting it.
Oh, aye.
There's no real sense.
We didn't have much, you know, apart.
That's not the solution. And none of that's a change of policy. You have to go outside of that oligopoly, and they might go to trial. So we can't really see much, and we don't want to prejudice it. And everybody's innocent till the proven innocent. Is beyond me. It just shows you what a bitch that Holmes the Useless must be. Start. Because what we're going to see is a collapse of our Humza Useless. Wow.
Structure project.
Have been reported over some of the things they've said and done, breaking ministerial codes and possibly needing a full...
Wow.
There's no
what a bitch that Hello, can you hear me? What is happening? Let's see if this is actually working.
Have been reported over some of the things they've said and done, breaking ministerial codes and possibly needing a full...
Wow. Hello, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Let me know. Oh no, I'm still buzzing. I don't know if this is on. Is that it? It just shows you the lengths will go to actually adversely affect me. What the f... I'm not sure what's happening. Not sure if it's working. Climate change has ruined the audio. Fine now. Oh my god. Do you think it's they're doing it externally? Do you think they're mucking about with me externally? Let's see. Fantastic. Let's keep going. We'll just keep going. Can't stop us. Oh my goodness. That's not the right one. So, where did the Silver Fox go there? There he is. Let's go, Silver Fox.
It is incredibly serious. The person who has reported them back in May, 9th of May, has still not had a response.
So, both Jean, whatever her name is, Jean Shipman and Nicola Sturgeon might be court embezzlement of the alleged embezzlement for the £600,000, but they might be up in court for killing people and putting people with COVID in care homes. So they might now not only be up on trial for embezzlement. So Nicola Sturgeon might have single-handedly destroyed the SNP. Can you imagine the fallout which is going to happen if Nicola Sturgeon and Jean, what's her name?
Possibly needing been reported. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. We have something to go through here. Let me tell you. The Shipman sisters, Jean Freeman and Nicola Sturgeon.
So Jean Freeman and Nicola Sturgeon might be up in manslaughter charges, could potentially be charged with manslaughter charges.
Have been reported over some of the things they've said and done, breaking ministerial codes, and possibly needing a full police investigation.
So that's the Scottish Nationalist Party putting people with COVID in old people's homes where their grandparents might have died.
It is incredibly serious. The person who has reported them back in May, 9th of May, has still not had a response, even though these allegations are of one of the most serious allegations that can possibly be brought.
So not only in the middle of a pandemic that was really, really serious, Nicola Sturgeon brought in people from all over the world for our COP26 nonsense.
And nothing
so she could shake hands with Greta Thunberg.
Has been done. We're going to have a look at this now, but if this is true, if they have done what is being alleged, prison time.
And not only could you, but that'll devastate the SNP as a political entity. It won't devastate Scottish nationalism. But people are saying that they thought that Nicola Sturgeon was set up by the government. But I actually think that Nicola Sturgeon might be the operative, and not, she is actually there to destroy the SNP. Why would you get a clown like Humza Useless to follow him? And he's weak, he's not got any ability to stand for himself. He's going to get absolutely... He keeps losing council seats to the Labour Party and everybody else. He came in third in East Kilbride. He's lost in North Lanarkshire as well, council seats in North Lanarkshire. He'll probably lose the next by-election that's coming up. And it's not going to be long. Everybody's quitting the party, all the MSPs and MPs. People are jumping ship. Mr Ewan's complaining that he might join Alba, and Angus McNeil might join Alba as well.
It absolutely looks like they should be going to prison. It is massive. Here goes. So Nicola Sturgeon and Jean Freeman reported for breach of ministerial code over COVID.
So that's a waste of time because they're not ministers, and you have to be a minister to breach the ministerial code, which is probably not a good thing, because when you were in power and you had breached the code, you should potentially be punished for the breach of the code when you were a minister.
And there they are, a picture of the Shipman sisters. Honestly, you only need a third one, and you got the opening scene from Macbeth, haven't you? NHS campaigner Leslie Roberts says the two SNP ministers misled Parliament and broke the ministerial code of conduct.
Well, it wasn't the first time, was it? Let's have a wee look at let's have a wee look. Climate change has ruined the audio. So funny, guys. Let's read your comments. Audio fuzzy, mate. Can't hear you. We can hear you now. Great, hear you. Silent again. You guys are cracking me up. Climate change fine now. Question: did the SNP side with the Nazis? Not all of the SNP sided with the Nazis. You've got to understand that National Socialism, Marxism, National Socialism comes from Marxism. So it's not the same as Marxism, it's a branch of Marxism. So there was interaction, same with in Ireland as well. Yes, they did. By the way, to everyone in Scotland, I wish you lot well and safety and happiness. Keep up the boys and girls. Watch you from Lincolnshire. How you doing, mate? Good to see you, Steve. Thanks for it. So, where the fuck did that go? Oh, here we go. So, I have to say, I put my shift in trying to get rid of her. I mean, I did 2 years of understanding that this woman was a disaster for Scotland. Not only a disaster, potentially corrupt, potentially having put people to kill other people in care homes, potentially setting up our former mentor with fake sexual allegations, which is something else we need to come on to. Lying in the ministerial code, redacting everything. If there was an individual way of how not to run a country, we weakened our education system. Everything that she did set Scotland back. Everything. There's not one sector of Scotland that has benefited from the 7-year tenure of Nicola Sturgeon and her wokey wefter ideas. Not one aspect of Scotland. She's almost single-handedly destroyed herself and also the SNP for being the first. And I don't want to say that all women are going to be bad, but there's a lot of, like the Barbie girl. This is the first woman in charge, and she was putting people with COVID allegedly in nursing homes, and people were dying because these people were going into nursing homes with COVID. So, I mean, I put my shift in. I told you this was going to happen. 2 years ago, I've been knocking at the door, and I voted for Nicola Sturgeon when she came into office as well. Believing it, I told you that she was potentially a Marxist with stupid political ideologies. I said that she was failing in every aspect of the policy she was bringing in. The Greens were a bunch of clowns. That's really is the village idiot party, and trying to take lessons for them. You might as well you waste your time with them. All of them, including the Greens, are all going back to the globalists who are controlling all our political parties. The 5 main political parties are not representing the people. They're representing what the globalists' interests are, including potentially our royal family, who are potentially connected with the globalists, including Baldy Dr. Evil. I said she was going to be found guilty for misleading Parliament. She was. And then she went on loose women and denied it. I mean, I don't know if this woman's a sociopath. I mean, she could be a sociopath. The live inquiry where she didn't know where she was. I don't know. I'll redact that. And there should be a third party. There's no second chamber in Scotland, so there has to be some third party rather than we've almost got a uniparty, a dictatorship of the uniparty, because nobody else is able to put any checks and balances in, because Westminster set it up this way, where we've only got one chamber, and we've got no checks and balances on this chamber, and also the one chamber controls the judiciary as well. I said the end was near 2 years ago. I was a wee bit premature there. The persecution of Wings Over Scotland, great bunch, doing some great stuff like the Prism, through a Scottish Prism, and good interesting stuff from them as well. Persecuting them. persecuted Alex Salmond, persecuted guys that were upsetting Humza Useless online. Nicola Sturgeon and the return of as minister. Alex Salmond returning to frontline politics. I predicted that before it happened. This is the beginning of the end for Nicola Sturgeon's potentially facing criminal charges. 2 years ago I got it. They also, I did a podcast where she was behind bars and YouTube took it off. YouTube took it off. And they deleted it and they wouldn't return it. So I'm sure that's that's like me going to publishers and them ripping up my copies of my book. They shouldn't be allowed to do that. And there has to be now oversight onto what the international conglomerate tech companies are able to get away with. This is the beginning, because they're acting like publishers, and if they're going to act like publishers, they should be able to be prosecuted in this country. I shouldn't have to go to America to be able to hold the Silicon Valley to account. Nicola Sturgeon is forced, we're doing them a favour being access our markets. Nicola Sturgeon is forced to hand over legal documents in Alex Chamshaw. So again, we've gone from the Shipman sisters, very convenient for them, frying pan into Humza's face, thanks. So let's go back to the Shipman sisters.
She reported them both on the 9th of May. Shockingly, she is yet to receive even an acknowledgement. What these two are alleged to have done is terrible. Now I'm going to go through all of this, and it doesn't surprise me. I've read through it once. It does not surprise me at all. And I don't think it will surprise you, but it is a terrible thing if it goes. So we're going to get straight in here. Humza Yousaf has been accused of covering up for Nicola Sturgeon after the former First Minister was reported for a breach of Holyrood's ministerial code during COVID-19. Leslie Roberts alleges that both Miss Sturgeon and her Health Secretary at the time, Jean Freeman, repeatedly broke the rules by making false statements regarding the Scottish Government policy in 3 key areas: the efficacy of PPE, the use...
So they were also saying do not resuscitate. So even like young people, these people, Nicola Sturgeon allegedly, and Jean Simmons or Freeman or whatever her name is, Jean Freeman, said not to resuscitate people who had COVID, obviously to then exaggerate how bad this actually was. Well, Nicola Sturgeon was on the telly every day, and she's telling people to get killed off, but through the health minister to the actual doctors to kill off people, even if they were young people, to kill them off, and then report the figures back to the people saying, oh look, this is terrible, we need to take extreme measures on the back of this.
Of do not resuscitate orders and the transfer of elderly patients from hospitals to care homes.
That's potentially mass murder. So that's the Scottish National Party, but they're not, and that's what really gets to me when political commentators down south call them a nationalist party. They're not. Well, some of them might be nationalists, but certainly not Nicola Sturgeon and her ilk. These are wokey wefta. These are postmodernist Marxists who have infiltrated the Scottish National Party. Wee Nippy said that she couldn't be the furthest thing from a nationalist, which means that she was some sort of filthy Marxist scum who have killed 100 million people. So they're not really those Marxists scum like she's doing with the wokey wefters and taking her orders from Baldy Dr. Evil, who was the son of an actual Nazi. Klaus Schwab was the son of a Nazi. That she's taking her orders from them. And previously, obviously, we already know. So she's not bothered about killing off people. That's probably in her raison d'etre.
Saying that they...
Her political raison d'etre.
Died. They call it the breach of conduct, but actually, lies. And the movement of the elderly patients from hospitals to care homes is possibly the most damaging one, because if they were moved and would move.
And we've got we've got Barbie out just now saying, "Oh, we need more women. We need more women." If it was only not, if it was patriarchy, and we've got the matriarchy who's now putting people in care homes allegedly and telling and giving non-resuscitation orders to doctors, which I'm sure is against the Hippocratic oath, not to resuscitate people who had COVID, whether they're young or not, whether they're young or elderly. Apparently,
fully knowing they had COVID, at the behest of Nicola Sturgeon and Jean Freeman, I can see nothing other than a charge of murder. This is how serious it is. The former frontline nurse and trade union rep, now one of the country's foremost campaigners on the way the pandemic was handled, submitted her complaint on May the 9th.
And Humza Useless is the continuity candidate. I wonder if he's going to go to jail as well.
Shockingly, nearly 2 months later, she's yet to get even an acknowledgement from the SNP administration. Of course, they are going to cover this up because they dare not let this happen. This will be the most serious accusation yet. I'm surprised this woman hasn't been visited, put it that way. In her email, seen by the Scottish Daily Express, she says, "I continue to believe that both Miss Sturgeon and Miss Freeman acted out with the law, and by doing so misled Parliament and broke the ministerial code of conduct." When she says out with the law, meaning...
Now, as far as I'm aware, there's no charges brought yet. So I can talk about this one where I couldn't talk about the £600,000 or other missing money from the SNP. And this is why we need the forensic accountants to go and look at the public records. The taxation is not their money or the government's money. It's our money that's been given to the government. So we have the right to actually find out exactly down to the penny where that money's gone.
Basically, she broke the law.
Hi, my name is Tami, and I would like to give you a few reasons why you should.
By doing so, their behaviour and actions caused the death of thousands of people. She, a seriously senior position, a woman who's campaigning, a woman who was at the front line, is making an accusation. Now, she must be able to back that up, or this would not be made. And she is making the accusation that Sturgeon and Freeman are responsible directly for the death of thousands of innocent people. And I, for one, don't doubt it. Now, whether it's true or not is another matter. That's the accusation. Do we believe it? Do we believe that Nicola Sturgeon ordered people to send elderly people with COVID into nursing homes with the understanding that they may take out old people, a lot of old people, which would reduce costs to the state and also, in their view, reduce those people who are most likely to be unionists, so thus increase the independence vote? If that's the case, Nicola Sturgeon needs to be arrested and questioned on this, and if possible, charged, and if charged, prosecuted, and if prosecuted, found guilty, and never, ever leave prison again.
So if you think about Harold Shipman, who murdered maybe a few hundred people, she could have actually murdered, I don't know how large the death toll is for this, but she could have murdered thousands of people.
Astounding that this woman is accusing her of this. She won't be doing that without some kind of proof.
But if even the no resuscitation order, that's just de facto murdering these people who had the COVID, might have been well, could have been resuscitated, and she's de facto withdrawn aid through the doctors and was instructing the doctors to break their Hippocratic oath, allegedly.
Anyway, Miss Roberts, along with two fellow campaigners, also reported the government to Police Scotland back in March, They argue that mistakes made during the pandemic were serious enough to justify corporate manslaughter charges. She also submitted a complaint to the Ethical Standards Commission and was directed to raise the issues under the Ministerial Code rather than the MSP Code of Conduct. She said, they informed me that this was because Miss Sturgeon had taken these decisions as First Minister and not as an MSP acting for her constituents. That was where I was told to go, and so I did. And now no one will even acknowledge it, my email. I expect at the very least to be able to get a reply from the Scottish Government. The Scottish Government will be shitting themselves. There's no other way to put it. They will be desperately trying to cover up everything that's happened. They will be destroying evidence, most likely, allegedly, probably destroying evidence. They will be ensuring that everybody sings from the same hymn sheet with regards to what is going to be said, what the agreed story is, everything. They will be playing Operation Cover My Arse, because they know that this will not just be a bit of a scandal. This will not just take down Nicola Sturgeon and Jean Freeman and probably some others and put them in prison. This will utterly destroy the SNP once and for all. I think many people might end up going to prison if this is true. Hamza Yousaf needs to be very, very careful, because he may well be one of them. He always said he aligned himself closely with the old order, the old regime. What did he know? When did he know it? The first one that goes to the police wins. This is going to make the investigation into the 600,000 look like a pub quiz. Anyway, Miss Roberts continued. I believe Hamza Yousaf is just covering up for her, and there will never be transparency or fairness with this administration. Now, I would say to any SNP supporter, did you lose someone? Did you lose someone in a care home, or did you lose someone to COVID because of the decisions Nicola Sturgeon made as First Minister? Because if so, that death is directly at her door if her decisions were wrong. Are you still going to vote for these people? Are you still going to say, yes, they can have my vote, even though the decisions they made killed Granny? Because if so, you're a very weird person. Anyway, she went, they have totally ignored my complaint, and yet the police are taking it very seriously indeed. And they have asked for copious amounts of information, which presumably she has supplied. Miss Roberts, who was the infection control link nurse with NHS Greater Glasgow and Clyde and a Unite trade union rep at the start of the outbreak in 2020, has been interviewed by detectives working on Operation Copa. This is the Crown Office-led investigation into hundreds of potentially avoidable COVID deaths in Scottish care homes. This could be manslaughter or possibly murder. She said, as I've provided copious information to the police to support my claim of corporate manslaughter by Nicola Sturgeon and the Scottish Government, it looks as if they are taking this very, very seriously, given the questions they're asking. We've also revealed recently how Miss Roberts had been denied corporate...
Let's see if there's any advances in that. Former First Minister and her Health Secretary were reported to the police in March. Campaigners believe the pair should face corporate manslaughter charges. Now, that's not including all the people who have died from missed appointments for cancer treatments, the suicides for keeping in, drugs injuries from taking the actual vaccines allegedly. So all of these things could actually be included in the charges that are levied against her. And it'd be very interesting to see if there was any money given by certain companies to pay off certain individuals, whether it be in the media or in the political establishment, and how much that was, because they were all 5 parties seemed to be on side with giving kids experimental drugs. Charges under the health and safety law due to scale and blunder made and at the alleged attempts to cover up. What do you guys say? Where did you guys go? Where'd you go? Need holding to account. Very convenient for them, yeah, indeed. They need as many deaths as possible to justify their doctrine measures. That's right, I agree. Without doubt, they are covering their tracks. I lost my cousin, age 57, to a massive heart attack a couple of weeks ago. Vaccinated, holy moly. The corruption would be rife, yeah. Yeah, brother, that's it. The corruption would be rife, and there's people have died. That guy who, let's see if I can find this. Let's go onto YouTube. Andrew Tate says all bodybuilders are pussies. Oh, here it is. This is that. This is the guy here. What's his name? His name? Joe Aesthetics. Right, let's see Andrew Tate.
Rest in peace. There was the guy, it was Joe Aesthetics.
Joe Aesthetics, Joey something, yeah.
And he had 8 million followers on Instagram, and he's 30 years old, and he just dropped dead. And he's on a lot of steroids, but he's saying that he got peer pressured into taking the vaccine. Four times he got peer pressured into it, and now he's literally dead. So what did we talk earlier about peer pressure and how important it is for it to be pushing you in the correct direction? And I think that your friends as a man, especially, should be at least inspiring bravery in you. Rest in peace. There was the guy, it was Joe Aesthetics. I don't know if you guys saw recently, rest in peace. There was the guy, it was Joe Aesthetics.
Joe Aesthetics, Joey something, yeah.
And he had 8 million followers on Instagram, and he's 30.
Yeah.
Did you get the vax?
I got the
Did you really?
Yeah. Even 4.
Really? Yeah.
So let me give a shout out to this channel. Joey Aesthetics found heavy metal in his blood after getting vaccinated. Bradley, I love Bradley and wee, what's her face? Wee Sarah Safari. Wee Sarah Safari. Bradley Martin Raw Talk clips. Here we go.
Why?
Yeah, and also, bro, you know how it is. This is the same like you go to a party.
You were worried about your heart?
And you have
Joey Aesthetics had a fantastic physique as well, great build.
Wrong people, all of a sudden you might do something on this party that you don't want to do because there's these people like, you know?
Yeah, yeah, we've all been at those parties.
You should do it.
Dude, fuck.
So I'm in this place also. I was in this place. We don't need to say where it is exactly, but I was there and my friends said like, we can get it. You should get it, man. And I'm like,
you got peer pressured into the vax?
Yeah, kind of.
Is that what you're saying? That's, I don't like, fuck no.
Yeah.
Whatever. It is what it is.
When I think about it later on, I'm like, what did I do, man? But, oh my God, this turns into weird conspiracy theories because I did blood cleaning twice after all this. I did a plasmapheresis with taking out heavy metals and all that stuff. Oh man, yeah, I did all this. I don't know, this is too controversial probably to say this.
Wait, no, say it.
I went to the doctor and I did my blood work again because I take my blood work all the time, and then I show it to the doctor and we kind of see these particles, and I'm like, what is this? And then they all
No
say,
way,
this
dude.
This is
Shut
from,
the fuck up.
This is from this, and I'm like, oh my god. And then I show it to another of my friends, and there's all kind of hidden websites that you can't get to, but it's like the dark
Oh
media
my
kind of
God.
web, and there's even more conspiracies.
This is crazy as fuck because I know you're the kind of guy who for sure you got your blood work all the time, and then you're telling me you got the thing, and then you got your blood work, and then it was fucking crazy.
And this guy's also big into it. So he's like, you need to do a plasmapheresis now. So they poke like a fucking needle into your arm here, which is like a pen, you know, like thick like this, right? Unbelievable thick needle. And they take all your blood out, put it into this machine, and then clean it and bring it back. So we did this with the heavy metal cleaning and all this stuff, which supposedly cleaned my blood. I did a D-dimer test and all this. I don't know if you know what it is. It's like this determines like the clotting of your blood arteries and stuff, like D-dimer, and like my D-dimer was this, and then after all this it was that. And then I did.
So did it improve after you got that removal?
Did it, twice. I did it in 6 month period, like one time and then the second time. Also expensive as fuck, man. Like it's no fun, man. So I was so shocked, and the doctor was like, "You need to do it, man, if you wanna like survive after you took these shots, bruh.
No way.
You need to do this now." Yeah, this was like that actually.
Oh, shit.
Because I don't know if the nurse did something weird, because when she took this in Thailand, obviously.
Yeah.
So when she then took out the blood, and then it's like there was some like a white thing in there, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? And then they may be like, maybe cholesterol, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? It's like, then I show this to my friend. He's conspiracy. He shows me all these websites where it's like, since they do this to people, so and so many, they found this in athletes and stuff, and that's a weird like reason why people they die. They have these white blood clots, tons of them in their blood everywhere. And so they're like, this is what you maybe have. We go to this other doctor and make further testing. And then I make further testing, and he's like, not white. It was not white anymore. There was no white thing. It was probably air, just like the nurse didn't do it right. But he then said, there's these black particles. This is the heavy metal that you have in your blood.
Dude, that whole thing just trips me out.
Yeah,
that was such a crazy time, man. Like an actual crazy time.
So ultimately what I think about this right now, like after all, I'm like, that was it and is some kind of a flu. And that's what it is. And people overreacted maybe, and whatever this like, people maybe saw opportunities also for making
money.
And you know that there's maybe bigger people over us. They can control much more things in different ways, and they did let this happen, right?
Yeah.
But ultimately, I think there was kind of an overreaction to this.
Yeah, I agree.
The overreaction is you're now pan-breed, brother. I mean, really? Jesus. Yeah, and the Guerilla TV channel did our best to tell people about it. I mean, we're as a podcast nearly banned on YouTube because they didn't want us talking about this. So, I mean, really, honestly, absolutely horrific. So, here we go. So, is Nicola Sturgeon also potentially going to be up on charges for the orchestration of fake sexual allegations, fake sex crimes against Alex Salmond? Apparently Alex Salmond's got more information that was brought out, and there's a chance that Nicola Sturgeon is now potentially going to be charged and convicted. I think they're looking at changing the laws in case these sort of situations where these sort of nasty, misandrous women who want to make up fake sexual allegations against men can then be prosecuted if it's not found to be correct. So rather than them being protected as liars, and then they because they haven't won the case, they then can be prosecuted. So that would go down like a house of cards, because once you start prosecuting a few of these so-called victims, who obviously Alex Salmond was found innocent of multiple charges, that Alex Salmond apparently has information in regards to that. So Nicola Sturgeon apparently had orchestrated the actual setup of Alex Salmond. So the anonymity should be taken away from the women who made the sexual allegations, and then we find out who these women are, so that we can actually then find out if this was an orchestrated attempt. Because if it was an orchestrated attempt by alleged lesbian and misandrist Nicola Sturgeon, where she coordinated people making false sexual allegations. That again should be another charge. That's another charge that she should be up on if she has actually allegedly orchestrated this. And Alex Salmond has to be has to have an ability to go back to court and prosecute the 9 people who made up the false sexual allegations, and the fact that Nicola Sturgeon might have orchestrated that. That should be a crime in itself. That should be a crime, and I said this a way back then. So this is another, so that's number 3. So the missing money for embezzlement, the putting and killing people and bringing in viruses to kill other people, and the fake orchestration of sex allegations, and to find out if the public sector, there's any money missing from the public sector financing, where there was billions spent. Where is those billions gone? Certainly not improving the health service or the education service. Where is that money gone? So, mate, I told you, all of my friends and loved ones not to get vax. Yeah, some of them, but at least my ex-son, daughters didn't. That's great, mate. That's good. Well done, Steve. So they can now target. They're trying to target and silence people and do all sorts of stuff now on this. And Nicola Sturgeon was getting handed flowers and candy by the party, even though this might be the outcome, and she might have single-handedly destroyed the party, but she's getting flowers and we all stand with Nicola. I'm telling you, in the next coming weeks, Nicola Sturgeon will be out the party. There'll be a by-election in her constituency. Once the actual charges are put forward, then especially if it's manslaughter or murder charges, then there'll be a by-election. She's out, and Hum's a useless will follow her right after that. My baby Guerilla, sorry about the sound, I don't know what's happening. Join in tomorrow to find out about Whoopi Goldberg and find out if she was in Epstein Island or not. I don't know the answer to that. Resist the lies. This thing about Salmond having additional information is news to me. Welcome news though. Interesting. He said that at the DJ said that at the time of when he came out of the trial. I think it's on YouTube. That when he came out of the trial, I wasn't funnily enough there that day shouting questions at him. But at the end of the trial, when he was found not guilty, which I already said that he was going to be found not guilty because I was actually inside the trial. That he said that there was things that they had that wasn't brought to light in the trial, and I believe that I believe that the fact is that there was other information about the orchestration of false sexual allegations against him by the misandrous, alleged lesbian misandrous Nicola Sturgeon, who might be up on mass murder charges for what she's done as a Scottish nationalist, but actually as a wokey lefter and a shill for the globalist New World Order. And promoting Marxism. My baby Gorillas, you know I love you guys. I always do my best for you guys, even if it's to the detriment of myself. Right, I'm out. See you tomorrow with Whoopi Goldberg and Epstein Island. Let's see if I can shut this thing down now. I love you guys. I always do my best for you guys, even if it's to the detriment of myself. Right, I'm out. Yeah, mate, DJ, good to see you, brother. How'd you stop this now? How'd you stop it? May have to go back onto this. Well, corporate manslaughter for Nicola Sturgeon, allegedly. Let's see if we can get this. Stop this. How do you stop this? Going live. And we're out.